Hi there and welcome to a new video. If you are new to my channel, Solar Energy, be sure to check out my previous videos on how to use solar energy in a cost-effective and sustainable manner for small home projects. Make sure to subscribe to my channel to get all the new updates and watch all my new videos. So, today we are going to see how to size solar panels for an off-grid home solar system. Be sure to stay till the end to watch my tips on how you can save some money when doing your home solar project. If you are a beginner and are wondering how to make your off-grid home solar system, this video will help you with the start you need. So before we start sizing our solar panels and buying all the stuff, we need to know what our requirements are. Let me start with a basic setup. Here I am taking 5 20-watt bulbs, 2 80-watt fans, some basic appliances like a laptop charger, phone charger, Wi-Fi, etc., which comes to around 100 watts. So if we take all of these appliances functioning together, we will need a total of 360 watts to power this setup. So how do we select or size our solar panels? What do we need to know? We need to be able to calculate the current which is needed to charge our battery. That is around 10% of the ampere rating of our battery. Let's take an example of a 200 ampere battery. 10% of that, we will need 20 amps to charge it optimally. So let's take an example of a 300 watt solar panel. Here you can see this is the data sheet. Pmax is the maximum power, here shown as 300 watts. IMP is the maximum current while working, here given as 8.28 amps. So for our desired 20 amps, we will need 2.5 of such panels. So is there any way we can save some money here? Yes, there are two options. One is to use an MPPT controller. Number 2 is to use a DC to DC converter, also known as a buck converter. We can use these devices to reduce the voltage, conserving energy loss, and charging our batteries at the optimal current. Look at this data sheet again. VMP is the voltage at maximum power, here showing at 36.25 volts. So if we need to charge a 12 volt battery setup, we need a slightly higher voltage. For example, to charge a 12 volt battery, a few volts higher like 14 or 15 volts would be adequate. So by using this formula of watts equals current into voltage, to charge our battery setup at 15 volts using this 300 watt solar panel, we should get an amperage of 20 amps from one panel. However, you must note that this is an ideal conversion. By using an MPPT charge controller, we should get something similar to this ideal conversion. Therefore, we should get somewhere around 20 amps from this setup using an MPPT charge controller. However, you must also know that MPPTs are expensive. So if you are looking to cut cost, the DC to DC converter or buck converter is a better option. However, there is some energy loss related there. Therefore, at the end of the day, we should expect slightly less amperage than would come in an ideal conversion. So if you are looking to save some bucks, the DC to DC converter is the better option for you. Here's another tip. There's another way we can conserve energy, that is to buy a solar panel with a low voltage at maximum power output. This will all depend on what our battery setup is. If we have a 12 volt battery setup, then we need a slightly higher voltage like 15 to 18 volts would be more than enough to charge it. If we have a 24 volt setup, somewhere around 28 to 30 volts would be ideal. Let me give an example. Let's say I am using a 12 volt battery setup and I have two options. I have a 320 watt panel with me giving a VMP of 37.1 volts and an IMP of 6.63 amps. Also, I have a 175 watt panel with a VMP of 18.7 volts and an IMP of 9.36 amps. If I want to charge my 12 volt battery system, I could either use an MPPT charge controller and charge my battery at 15 volts using a current of 16 amps from my 320 watt panel, or without using an MPPT converter, buy the cheaper panel, which is the 175 watt panel, charge my system at around 18 volts without using any extra devices. I can use 9.3 amps from that. So given the price of a larger panel and the cost of an MPPT, I think it will be cheaper overall when using for a small setup. So I guess it's totally up to you. It depends on what your requirements are, what your battery setup is like, and how much you can put into it. I hope you were able to gain something from this video to see how you can calculate your power requirements, how to size your solar panels, as well as some tips on how you can save some money. If you liked that video, please hit the like button and share it with your friends. In my next video, I will give you some tips on what type of batteries to select, what your ideal voltage for your battery pack should be like. Later, we will see the other equipment that are needed. For example, the inverter. So until next time, thank you.